SOFI Stock has been one of the most consistent high growth companies over the past 3 years, and I don't see that slowing down anytime soon. And there's one date we need to mark on our calendars if you're a SoFi investor or if you're looking to open a position with SoFi. We're going to talk about what that date is, what's happening on that date, and some things I'm looking for on that date in this video. But first, before we get into all that, if you're new here, I'm Austin. I'm a co-owner of cloudbusinessweek.com. I'm also a stock market investor, and definitely most importantly for this video, I'm a SoFi shareholder. I've been a SoFi shareholder since before they went public through their SPAC merger. It's been a wild ride and it's been a very, very good 2023 so far, and I'm looking forward to that continuing as we move through Q3 and Q4. If you're a subscriber already and you're back, I thank you so much for being back. If you're not one of those 2,000 or so people, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, become one of those subscribers, and drop a like for me. As a thank you for doing that, here's a picture of all my pets, my dog, Penny, my 2 cats, Millie and Luna. They all thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you in a major way. All right, let's get into this video. So the date we need to save for SoFi is Monday, October 30th, before the market open around 7 a.m. Eastern time. What SoFi is doing on that date is they're reporting their Q3 2023 earnings. Q1 2023, absolute record beast quarter. Q2 2023, absolute record beast quarter. I don't see that slowing down in Q3 or Q4, and we're about to find that out here in about a month on October 30th for SoFi's Q3 earnings report. I'm super excited because this is the first quarter where we had those student loan refinances start to come through in a major way, most likely. Because if you didn't know, student loan payments started back because the student loan forgiveness actually got blocked. So all borrowers who have federal student loans are having to pay those loans back. And if you didn't know this, before the pandemic started, SoFi was actually getting over 50% of their revenue from student loan refinances alone. They obviously moved away from student loans in a major way because student loans have been canceled for like 3 years now, and the company's still thriving and firing on all cylinders. So they've been able to move away from those student loans, but now bringing those student loans back could bring a lot of contributable revenue and contributable profit as a result. So that's the first thing I'll be looking for, is definitely any commentary and specific numbers around student loan refinances. This quarter probably won't be the biggest quarter of a boom for student loan refinances. It'll probably be Q4 because the first student loan payment people have to make is actually in October, which is inside of Q4 rather than inside of Q3. So on a year-over-year basis, we should definitely see those student loan numbers increase in a massive way. Next thing I'm going to be looking for is that gross profit number. I was checking out SoFi's gross profit numbers and comparing it to some of the bigger banks. A lot of banks have like 97, 98, 99% gross margins. SoFi is only sitting around 80% gross margin. Let me be clear, 80% gross margin for any company is still really, really, really good. But when we compare it to the rest of the banking sector, it's considerably lower, sometimes like 20% lower. So in order for SoFi to become one of those beast banks, we need to bring those gross profit numbers up. Let's move it from that 80% range up to the 81 or 82% range. That would mean big things for the bottom line. If they can get those gross profit numbers up to around 82%, that would be great. I would love to see that in Q3 of 2023. Seeing revenue growth somewhere between 30 and 40% would also be something I want to see in Q3 of 2023, but somewhere in that 30 to 40% range would be ideal. That's what SoFi's been able to hold, with some quarters being way higher than that 40% number, even over the past 3 years. So as long as we can keep those revenue growth rates somewhere in those 30 to 40s, I will be happy. I want to see total financial services products well into the 8 millions, and then let's switch our brains over to the technology platform. This is the side of the business I've been the least happy with the results of over the last few quarters. So when we look at Q4 of 2022 and we compare to Q1 of 2023, we had a drop in technology platform connected accounts by 5 million connected accounts. And then we had an increase up to 129 million connected accounts, which is an increase of 3 million from Q1 of 2023 to Q2 of 2023. I want to see us get back to all-time highs on those total connected accounts, past the 131 million that we saw in Q4 of 2022. If we don't see that, we have to hear very clear progress on Anthony Noto's goal of going after larger, more durable clients on that technology side. If we hear that and we don't have an all-time high in connected accounts, I could be happy, but I'd really like to see both, if we're being totally honest, for a hyper-growth company like SoFi. And then the last thing on the technology side of the business, we need to see that contributable profit increase on a yearly basis and on a quarter-over-quarter basis in a massive way. On a year-over-year basis, from Q2 of 2022 to Q2 of 2023, we had a drop in contributable profit from the technology side of the business by 21%. If the technology side of the platform is going to be the AWS of the fintech space, and that's what's going to pull them into those upper echelon of stocks that have insane revenue growth and crazy net income numbers. If technology platform's going to be that for SoFi, we got to see those numbers come through. You can't just say you're going to be the AWS of fintech and then have your contributable profit drop by 21% on a year-over-year basis. For reference, Amazon gets over 70% of their profits just from AWS. It's not the e-commerce, it's not the international e-commerce, it's not the logistics business, it's AWS that brings them an insane amount of profit. So tech platform for SoFi has to be that for the business, just like AWS is that for Amazon's business. That's what allows Amazon to aggressively invest back into the e-commerce side of the business. That's what we need for SoFi from the tech platform in order for them to be able to aggressively invest into financial services. Building out a massive financial services one-stop shop for the consumer is not a cheap undertaking. SoFi needs income from operations ASAP in order to get to that position where they're able to spend enough money to invest back into the business without putting the balance sheet in a worse spot. If we see the debt rise again on a quarterly basis, I'm not going to be very happy. If we don't see progress on income from operations and we don't see progress on net income, it's not going to be looking good for SoFi, especially in these high rate environment times. The more amount of debt they put on their balance sheet, the weaker position they're putting themselves in, not only in the short term because of the high rates, but also in the long term because they're going to have to service that debt for years. So yes, I'm a SoFi shareholder, but we really need to see those debt numbers either stagnate or start to drop a little bit. And we really need to see those EPS numbers, those income from operation numbers grow massively and the gross margin increase from 80% to maybe 81 or 82%. And then, like I said, on the technology side of the business, we need to see customer counts increase to all-time highs. We need to hear progress around the durable and larger clients on the tech side. And we need to see those contributable profit numbers from the technology platform get in a much better place than they were in Q2 of 2022. I have no worries that SoFi is going to grow less than expected. They're probably going to destroy the revenue numbers. For me, it's really about the bottom line for SoFi. GAAP earnings and GAAP income from operations de-risk a company in a massive way because now they don't have to take on more debt in order to fund growth. They can fund growth from their own operations, okay? Stocks follow earnings in the long term as well, so if I have negative earnings as a company like SoFi does right now, and we keep on having negative earnings Q3 this year, Q4 this year, Q1 of next year, Q2 of next year, we're probably going to be dead money sitting in one spot. SoFi is going to be range bound in the $7 to $9 range. That's not what I want. If they keep on making progress and they flip to profitability, the stock is going to have a massive pop once they flip to profitability because it unlocks a whole new shareholder base for a company like SoFi. So many people will never, ever touch a company that's EPS negative, especially when we have these crazy high rates. I'm super excited for October 30th, 2023. I love seeing SoFi report numbers. It's always really good things, and then maybe there's one or two bad things mixed in there. But as long as it's overwhelmingly positive, and as long as they hit some of those numbers that I have in mind that I think are very reasonable that I went through in this video, then I will remain a happy shareholder and even potentially pick up more shares. I've said historically in the past, multiple videos, that I am pretty much done building my SoFi position. I have a secret for you though. I actually bought a few more shares recently. Last week, whenever we saw this big drop, I just couldn't resist. I bought a few more shares, but I might become a big buyer again if we have a big drop and the fundamentals are still strong for SoFi. If the fundamentals start to weaken, I will chill a little bit. I'll wait and see. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to be smooth sailing on the way up towards EPS positive, towards income from operations positive, and it's going to be smooth sailing from there. Let me know what you're doing with SoFi in the comments below. I want to hear if you think it's a great company, trash company, if you're holding shares, if you're shorting, etc. I want to hear about it. Thank you so much for being here. Have an amazing day.